options in the description box has been sharing subscriber secrets, and this was inspired by Quiet Sprite. So I do want to do this video, but I obviously need your help to do the video. So if you could send me via email, or you can Instagram message me, I guess, if you want, your secret that you would want me to share. They will all remain anonymous, of course. I will never publicly screenshot and share your stuff on Instagram story. I'll never say your name. This is just something that I feel like is a fun video idea that I saw Quiet Sprite ASMR do, and I want to do it. So go ahead and find my email address in the description box below. It's just ASMRxbabe with 2 E's at gmail.com. And send me your secrets. If you're emailing me, use the subject line subscriber secrets. Subscriber secrets. Just so that I make sure I have them all. I can search for that subject line and make sure I don't miss any. So go ahead and email me your secret that you want me to share with the world, and you can get a kick out of that. Yeah, okay. So, since I am super, I have jumbled thoughts, and I'm not, the best storyteller in certain ways, I took notes for this video so that I could be clear and make sure that I really did my research. So it was annoying to take notes through the documentary as I was watching it, but I know that I've done some reviews and tea videos where I can't remember certain details, and I know you guys want the deets, so I'm sure Paris Hilton needs no introduction, but Paris Hilton is such a there's a lot of depth to her, because she, came onto the scene in the early 2000s as this socialite, party girl, kind of coined the term, well, the paparazzi coined the term about her, famous for being famous, and she was kind of the first reality star before there were reality stars. She paved the way for celebrities like Kim Kardashian to become famous, and it took Kim Kardashian 20 years, and for her to finally feel secure in her career and mature enough to actually thank Paris and give Paris that credit that she deserves, because the initial transition, first Paris was famous and Kim was her assistant, organizing her closet for her, and then the tables turned where Kim became super famous and Paris kind of faded into the background a little bit more. But in these past few years, I think Paris feels like she's in a really good place. She has her niche that's really not competing with Kim's niche, and I think now that Kim does not see her as a competitor or whatever, now she's giving her the credit that she deserves. So thumbs up if you get what I'm saying and you agree with me, because I definitely feel strongly about that view. But yeah, so Paris Hilton began as a socialite, and I became obsessed with her when I was 11, 12, when the reality show, This Simple Life, came on. I think it was Fox or whatever channel it was on. I'm pretty sure it wasn't on cable, because I did not have cable until I was 16, and that was about her and her best friend Nicole Richie. They were 21 and 22 years old, and all they had ever known is extreme wealth, fame, luxury, and they were plopped in the middle of wherever they went, Arkansas or something, to live with a family for a month or two, or however long they were there, and get a taste of working class farm life. It was obviously a funny show concept. So I show. Paris and Nicole, I loved them both. They would dress crazy. They would act crazy. I grew up like loving like Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, like Snooki, like all those funny, hilarious, just giving no fucks reality show characters. And I still love them. I think they're the best. So the documentary. So then, after Paris was famous and like super in the spotlight, she kind of took a step back as more reality stars came to light. She's kind of come back a little bit in recent years, but she's this whole time been really popular in like other countries internationally with her fragrances and her clothing line and her skincare line. Like, she has so many different businesses that have always remained profitable. But she's kind of recently came back, and the documentary is about her kind of coming clean about her childhood, kind of letting everyone know like the real Paris a little bit, because she talks about how she's kind of been playing this character for all these years where she has her high-pitched voice and kind of acting dumb and like a dumb blonde and whatever, but she's really smarter than everyone thinks and gives her credit for, and she's a good businesswoman. So that's kind of the backstory of this documentary and her life and everything. So the documentary starts out with just kind of a clip of her, and I'm going to be looking at my notes a lot, so just bear with me, but starts out with her not knowing how to act because she's so, like, in front of the camera when the camera's filming her, because she's so used to kind of playing this character. She keeps kind of playing with the tone and the pitch of her voice, because when she's, just with family and friends, she has this more normal, relaxed voice, whereas when she's not, she kind of like raises her voice and like kind of acts like a baby and like acts shy and like cute. So I get it, like, but hers is kind of like in an extreme way. She then kind of sits down in front of the camera along with her mom and her sister Nikki, who Nikki says that she never does like sit down interviews and stuff like that. So this is like a big first that, they're describing her childhood, how Paris Hilton's mother, Kathy Hilton, was a model and an actress as a child, and Kathy did not want that same life for Paris, but she always did teach Paris to be proper, act like everything was perfect. So I think a lot of celebrities kind of have more like fucked up childhood. Like, I don't think I'm wrong about this. This is my theory that I really feel strongly about, that like a lot of famous people had these just like strange, not normal upbringings. So whenever you're jealous and envious of a famous person and that life, and it seems so glamorous, just remember that a lot of famous people, not all of them I'm sure, but a lot of famous people have had fucked up childhoods or have gone through really fucked up situations to kind of get where they're at. So, just hearing this kind of, I could see how that was a thing, that her mom, act proper, act like everything's perfect. Like, I don't know, I just will never tell my kid to do that. There was also a big focus on her beauty growing up, on Paris's beauty. Her aunt is, oh my god, see, now I'm forgetting the name of the Real Housewife. Her aunt is one of the Real Housewives, and she was talking about saying that, yeah, there was always a big focus on Paris's beauty. Everyone was constantly telling her how gorgeous she was, how beautiful she was. Although Nikki said that, Nikki's Paris' sister, said that Paris was a tomboy growing up, and that Nikki was actually the girly girl, and that, Paris seems to have this crazy, glamorous, luxurious life, but in reality, she's like so normal, and she really just loves to eat leftovers and like sit inside with her dogs and like do a scrapbook for fun. So yeah, it's a lot of times people are putting on an act. They're just everyday normal people like you and I. She talks about how Paris, or I traveled every minute, and I was like, if I had to have such a crazy time, in retrospect, it's like, okay, I'm glad it was right before COVID, so I kind of got that travel bug out of me because I've not traveled since. But traveling 250 days a year is outrageous, guys. Like, that is insane. She has 19 product lines, and her perfume, which she has so many different perfumes. I remember I had many of them, and that's actually how I met her, was through her perfume. She had like a meet and greet when I was like 13. Me and my girlfriend Meg went. It was at Strawbridge's, which shows you how long ago it was. And if you are like under the age of 22, you probably don't know what Strawbridge's is. It was like a Macy's type of store. It was an apartment store. And if you bought her fragrance, you could get passes to meet her. So I remember I bought her fragrance. Me and my girlfriend Meg made her like a big like poster of like collage of all pictures of her and Nicole Richie. And I went up to her and I had on my long nails and they were green, lime green tips. And I went up to her and I had braces and everything, and I had my hair in like a bump. I wore a white t-shirt on, Uggs, and blue jeans. I forget what my t-shirt said. It said something in like pink sparkles. And she told me she liked my nails. And I cried as soon as I was done meeting her. So I remember giving my dad my digital camera, because you couldn't bring cameras up with you. This was before cell phones. And my dad, who like is the worst with technology, I gave him my digital camera and I was like, Dad, this is how you take a picture. You click this. Like, I trained him, because I was like, if you fuck this moment up and don't get a picture of me, which he just took it from the side, like the side view. I was like, this is like, you need to get a picture. And he got it. But I walked away and I came over to my dad and I was like sobbing, crying. And he was like, what's wrong? Like, why are you crying? And I was like, I'm so happy. And that was the one and only time in my life that I have cried from being so happy. And I probably won't do that again until I'm like getting married or having a baby. So I was obsessed with Paris Hilton. Like, I loved her. Plus I was young, so it was like huge for me. Yeah, so Paris Hilton's perfume, I did $3 billion in sales so far. So it cuts to, since this documentary kind of following her around, it cuts to her having, some type of event, meet and greet, or whatever it is, in South Korea. She has her fans, like, that's the one thing about her fans, they're like die hard, and I think they're called like little Hiltons or something like that. So she had fans, and I'm pretty sure were from the US, who flew 30 hours to see her in South Korea. And it was sweet because she really cares about her fans, which is amazing. And that's one of the reasons I still respect her to this day, and I think she's the GOAT, is that she's not disrespectful to her fans. No matter how much like comments I get and everything, like, I always make an effort 93% of the time to answer as many comments as I can, like as many comments as I can. It's like, when people are supporting you like that, I just don't understand how people can just ignore them. Like, there's obviously a time and a place and everything, but I think it's so important to be nice and kind to the people that support you, and to just always remain humble. And so Paris had all of the paparazzi were lined up to like take pictures of her, and she spotted her fans in this big crowd, and she was like, can I like grab them, like to the security, like grab them, bring them over here so I can say hello. I know them, like they flew 30 hours to be here. And so she did, and like she took pictures with them and pulled them aside, and they were crying. I mean, that's another level of nuts. Like, that's like weird that they did that. I mean, no offense, but like also like it's weird. But whatever. She was very kind to them, and I would do the same if I ever had to meet up and somebody drove 20 minutes to see me or whatever. I would be so grateful. So then they're showing, there's footage of Kim Kardashian acknowledging that Paris gave her that if it happened today, it wouldn't be the same story, but that they made her the bad guy. And like, that's true. We're getting a little bit better, like, you know, with the Me Too movement and everything, and men are getting held accountable more for, you know, doing things to women like that. Also today too, like, it's not as like, oh my god, like, I think I'm pretty sure Tyga has an OnlyFans and like shows stick and like whatever, like nobody even gives a fuck, it's like not even news. But it was a different time back then. She said that she was in love with this guy, you know, she wanted to make him happy, he pressured her. Like, if you can't relate, if you're an adult and you can't relate to that as an adult, let alone as an 18-year-old, you're kidding yourself. So we've all been there, done stupid things that, you know, we wouldn't want anyone to have seen. People think that she did it on purpose, her sex tape. So she, you know, says she did not do it on purpose, and that it really made her scared to, you know, love, and it made her scared of people, which is really, really quite sad. Just imagine having that much scrutiny on you. You have to be a soldier to even get the scrutiny you get from YouTube. I see a lot of people affected by the hate comments when that's really like just a drop in the bucket compared to what some of these mainstream celebrities receive in terms of criticism. So, and it cuts to a scene of her actually she had a new boyfriend, I guess at the time, who was not a boyfriend she's currently with, but she was putting up a camera in her house when the boyfriend was staying with her, which was like interesting, like a spy camera, because she was going to be away and he was going to be staying at the house, and she just like didn't trust him. So really sad, unfortunately, that she feels the need to do that, because she's just been screwed over and used so many times in her life. Okay, so then she was talking about kind of going back to her childhood. Her family moved to New York City as a teenager and was living in a hotel. Her parents were very strict. She wasn't allowed to wear makeup. She wasn't allowed to go on dates or anything like that. So finally she said fuck it, and she did what she wanted, which that's why, like, one of the reasons I'm so strongly opposed to being like parents being so strict with their kids, because you are fooling yourself. If you are that strict with your kids, they are going to retaliate, and they are going to be even worse and more like rebellious than in the first place, than them just being their natural young curious selves. So just, I mean, you have to let teenagers and kids kind of be themselves to a point. I am all for discipline, but like the fact that she's a teenager, she's not even allowed to go on any dates, wear makeup, do anything. It's like, okay, her parents set her up to act like that. She's gonna rebel. She got addicted to the nightlife. She got a fake ID, and she'd go out to the clubs, and basically said that like the club is where she felt alive and where she felt free and where she felt herself. I relate to that. I love to dance. I love to go out, being at the club and dancing and being around people and looking hot and feeling fierce. Like, it's fun. So then her mom finally locked her in her room, and her parents like had enough and started sending her to these different programs. So she got sent to this emotional growth school, and it was an outdoor wilderness program. Basically, it was like a fucking child labor camp where she was doing manual labor. It was like boot camp, and she ran away. And when she was caught, they beat her, which is crazy. So this kind of cycle happened a few times with these different places, and she would escape multiple places, and she just could not convince her parents to let her go home, because they just felt like she was bad and whatever. So just awful. I can't imagine like sending my kid away to something like that. Like, I was definitely rebellious as a teenager, and my mom tells me, and we joke about it, that like my sister wasn't as bad as I was, and like I was definitely like a little bit crazy and whatever, but she never, you know, wrote me off or sent me away. The worst that she did, which wasn't even bad and is totally normal, personality and mind is being shaped. So it must have definitely been hard. So then it cuts to showing Paris as a DJ, which is one of her gigs or side hustles that she does. Like I said, she loves music, she loves nightlife, it gives her a high. So one of the really interesting parts that actually stands out in my memory is when she was DJing at Tomorrowland in Belgium. Tomorrowland is a huge EDM festival, like bigger than Coachella, like more well known, more people. But like if you're unfamiliar with it, just think like Coachella type of thing. So she was DJing at that. She had her boyfriend with her, the same guy that she's no longer dating. She has a new boyfriend now, but in the documentary, the same guy that she put the camera up in her room to watch. And ew, this dude was such a bitch. Like, he was drunk. You could tell that he was drunk and started a fight with her, like, before she was set to go on stage. And he was just being, like, insecure and, like, clingy and weird and, like, just, like, insecure. And it got to a point where, like, she was like, stop trying to, like, fight with me. Like, I'm literally about to have the biggest DJ job of my life in, like, 5 minutes. Like, I'm DJing at fucking Tomorrowland. Like, get a grip. Like, we can talk about this later. And he just wouldn't let it go because he was obviously fucked up and just insecure. And she was like, finally, after the last straw, he was like all over her. He was like just in her face. It was disgusting. Her body language, like, she was trying to be nice. You could tell she was just like, get away from me. And he wasn't reading it. He was taking advantage. And she finally, after a while, was like, get his wristband, get him the fuck out of here. Like, I'm done. Which I was so happy that she did that. It was very interesting to see. So if there was one part that I thought was very interesting, it was that. Then she, like, it just going back to that story, it shows her, like, with, like, she has, like, 100 computers. She's kind of a hoarder. She has, like, a lot of shit at her house, clothes, stuff, jewelry, everything. She had, like, 25 MacBooks. And she basically said that she has to get a new computer every time she gets a new boyfriend because her boyfriends have broken into them. Which is like, whoa, Paris, like, red flag. Like, who are we dating here that is breaking into your computers? Like, so I just really felt bad for her because I feel like she just kind of lets people kind of walk all over her and take advantage because of what happened to her in her childhood. So, gets to the big story, which is when she was a teenager, after she had been going out, after she'd gone to all these, like, you know, wilderness boot camps, she was in her bed one night sleeping, and in the middle of the night, she thought she was being kidnapped, but her parents were really sending her away to a boarding school called Provo Canyon School, and literally these men came and took her in the middle of the night and, like, took her away. She was screaming, crying. What the actual, to take her to a boarding school? Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, shame on her parents. Like, I know she didn't mean to, like, expose them or call them out or whatever, and she was like, oh, they thought I was being bad, and, like, they didn't know, like, what was happening, like, at the school. Like, I would never let men come and take my child at night. That is traumatizing. And now, as a result, 30 years later, not 30, 20 years later, whatever, she has insomnia, and she has PTSD, and she can't sleep because of it. She has the same dream over and over again about being kidnapped. Like, how fucked is that? Awful. So, basically, she said this was, like, the worst place of all. Out of all the places she had been. You know, she'd get hit, yelled at all day long. The workers there were prescribing pills, and she didn't know what the hell she was taking. Like, you didn't even know what it was, and they would give you pills, and you would, like, be forced to take these pills. One day, she stopped taking her pills and got solitary confinement. Like, what? And basically, they would, like, put you in this, like, almost like a jail cell, put you in this room by yourself, naked, for, like, 20 hours. So, this is, like, again, young, impressionable minds, teenagers, and she was 17 at the time. So, luckily, she was 17 at the time. So, you know, once you're 18, like, your parents can't force you to be there. So she was there. 11 months, she didn't tell her parents what was going on because she said she hated her parents. She didn't want to tell them, which I can't really relate to on a personal level or understand, but I know that that's a thing that, like, people just kind of stay silent on the traumas that are happening to them, unfortunately. But I encourage always speaking up. So then she leaves after 11 months of being at this awful, like, jail-like place. And she left. She's 18 now. She said she met David LaChapelle, did a photo shoot with him, for a story with Vanity Fair. And, you know, that's when she kind of just, like, blew up and became herself. And it was the famous photo where she's got, like, fishnets on, and I think she's in, like, her grandfather's house or something, and she just, like, gives, like, the middle finger, and, like, she's just, it's basically kind of like a fuck you, like, rebellious type of photo, which, like, I'm so here for. Then the rest of the documentary is kind of honing in on her meeting with the survivors from the school, from Provo Canyon. A lot of them still have nightmares. They came to her house. They kind of did, like, a campaign about raising awareness for, you know, trying to get this place shut down. They have had the Provo Canyon School has had 56 calls with reports of assault over the past few years, and 25 cases of sexual assault, which in my mind, I'm wondering if Paris didn't say she was raped or sexually abused at the school, but I kind of wonder if she was, just because of the, like, severe level of trauma that she seems to have. But obviously that's not my place to, like, make that assumption. So then Paris kind of opened up to about her being in abusive relationships, that she accepted the abuse because it's, like, all she had known as a teenager. And then in the end, it kind of shows her sitting down with her mom to finally tell her mom, like, about the abuse and what she had endured. Her mom kind of, like, seems surprised, but, like, also, and, like, almost cries, but, like, doesn't, and said, like, and they hug, and she's like, you know, if I had known, like, I would have been there in a second. And again, I don't know these people, I don't know the situation, but, like, it seemed super weird to me. Like, what do you mean if you had known? Like, you had strange men come and take your child in the middle of the night to bring her to a boarding school. Like, if my kid, like, was in a place like this and you're going to visit them or whatever, like, I'm pretty sure you would get some type of vibe. Like, I'd have some type of general awareness about this place that my child was being held. So I kind of think that's bullshit, and I don't like that, like, no blame was placed on her parents, because I think they just handled things very wrong. And I'm sure there's a lot more detail to it, but it's definitely super interesting. Again, I didn't love how the documentary was laid out, because I felt like it wasn't really, like, in chronological order. Like, there wasn't, like, a climax. Like, I don't know. But it was still super interesting to see. And if you are or ever were a fan of Paris Hilton, I recommend watching it. It's on YouTube. It's like 90 minutes, so it's not too long. So, yeah. Alright, guys. So I'm going to end this video here. Make sure to email me your secrets to asmrxbabe@gmail.com, or if you must, Instagram DM, but I'd suggest email to make sure I definitely say with the subject line subscriber secrets, so I can make that video. I love you guys. I